Car crash cases, defective products, dangerous drugs, injuries, and abuse. Across the state of Alabama, the attorneys, proudly sponsored by the law firm of Hollis Wright, are here to serve you. Your tough legal questions answered by our experts. The attorneys with Josh Wright from the law firm of Hollis Wright and host David Lamb.
Good evening and welcome into the attorneys. Thank you so much for joining us each and every Sunday evening. We are here, and the whole purpose of the show is to provide some free legal advice and an interesting conversation relative to legal matters that we believe matter to you, to inform and to educate. That's what the attorneys is all about. Also an opportunity for you to be a part of this conversation. Always better when that takes place. A couple of ways to do that all throughout the program, ways you can get your questions into us. Also, attorneys from the firm of Hollis Wright standing by all throughout the program this evening. They're standing by live to speak with you. So if you have a question that you really don't want to share on the air but need to speak with an actual attorney, that opportunity is available if you'll pick up the phone and just call that number. Leading our conversation is the managing partner of the firm Hollis Wright, Josh Wright. Good to see you, sir.
You too. Hope you had another great week.
I did. Thank you.
You know, David, we do shows all the time on automobile-based accidents,
right.
Because there are a lot of those cases out there, and there are a lot of people that are injured in accidents that need assistance and help to be led, guided through the process after you have an accident, those things that you need to do to make sure that you're able to deal with your insurance company, that you're giving statements to the right people, those types of things. And so when we do these shows, we like to bring on new guests to put a new spin on the show. Individuals who have different experiences and backgrounds, and Mintrel Martin's with us today with the Martin Law Firm, and he is going to provide a brand new spin on kind of a topic that we've done in the past. So first of all, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. All right, so how did you kind of get into this area of the law? Because it's a popular area of the law,
Sure.
but I know it's something you kind of specialize in.
Sure, I started off being an insurance defense lawyer, and powers that be sort of got me here, a few cases, and many years later, I'm still here.
Well, these are the best guys, truly, to have as your lawyers, because he started on the side of the bar that defends those cases.
Right.
He knows the tricks of the trade, and so that's one of the reasons we brought him on the show, is to be able to talk kind of from that perspective. So let's jump into that.
Okay.
Do you think it was helpful for you to do some insurance defense work initially, so that it helps you with how to deal with adjusters and those types of things on the plaintiff side?
Sure, absolutely. I represented insurance companies for many years, and sort of saw the tricks of the trade and how they were able to take little small details that may not seem important to the average person and build a case against a person.
So there are accidents that happen on our roads every single week. I'm sure there are hundreds of accidents that happen today. Talk about this, kind of the steps that you should take just generally from the time of the accident forward to make sure that you're protected.
Sure, absolutely. After an accident, obviously the most important thing to do is to see if anyone's hurt. Okay, if anyone's hurt, then obviously you want to get medical attention. But it's very important to get contact information. Heck, get out your phone. People have iPhones, Android phones these days. Take a picture of a tag. You know, a lot of times you have an accident and the person might try to flee the scene. Very important. Take a picture of the tag, take a picture of the person, get insurance information, and call the police.
You know, David, it's interesting. I have seen in the last decade more and more examples yearly of what appear to be clear liability accidents where somebody caused the accident, where they may have even told the officer one story, but then the insurance carrier is building a case for a both at-fault accident, so that there is not a guarantee that one carrier pays versus the other carrier. We see that over and over and over again. So I think what Mintrel's saying is 100% correct, which is you want to make sure you document everything you can, whether it's gathering information about witnesses at the scene, whether it's taking pictures at the scene of the accidents, the final resting points of the car, all those things. If you're capable of doing that, those are all super important on your phone.
A question we've got here, what if the the person involved in the accident is a minor? Should I still call the police or fill out a police report if it is a minor who hits me?
Yes, it's very important.
Does it change it at all?
Not to me, it doesn't.
Really?
No,
okay.
No. It's very important to make sure you call the police. That way you have a written record of what actually happened.
Yeah, and explain it just a little bit about that, because there are a lot of people in the viewing audience that have never been in an accident. The officer generally does do an incident report or traffic report, and that can be helpful, can it not?
It can. A lot of times that report will have information, driver's insurance, driver's contact information. The driver is less likely to give the police officer false information than he would the person that he hit.
Let's take this question that I know we'll get tonight and just kind of head it off at the pass. I'm in an accident, and unfortunately the person that caused the accident did not have insurance. Do I have the ability still to recover in that circumstance?
That is a great question. I'm glad you asked that.
I only ask great questions.
That's it. That's all you got.
It works.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have what's called uninsured motorists. Okay, and it is so very vital that people get uninsured motorists. If you don't already have it, please get it. And what that does is that if a person hits you and they don't have insurance, then your insurance company will actually step into place for that person's insurance. Or a lot of times you have cases where there's just not enough insurance. And your insurance company will, again, step into the place and supplement that. So.
All right, so when we come back, because I know we're going to break, I want to unwrap that topic even more than that. Mintrel did a great job right there. He's 100% accurate. And I want to walk through kind of the importance of uninsured motorists and how we get it, the cost, those types of things. Let's talk about that when we come back. All
right, we're stepping aside. As we do so, a couple of reminders how you can follow the firm on social media. A great resource that the firm uses extremely well on Twitter, Hollis_Wright, and on Facebook, just search the term Hollis Wright. You'll find it there. Stay tuned. We're coming right back.
I'm Josh Wright with the law firm of Hollis Wright, a personal injury law firm. Thank you for watching The Attorneys. Now, we hope you, a friend, or a loved one never needs legal counsel for a case. But if you do, the goal of the show is simple. Provide answers and legal counsel when you need it the most. Your call to the show is free, so if you have questions specific to the show or related to other accident or injury-related topics, you can call, email, or text us. Or you can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter, or simply contact us by going to hollis-wright.com and click on the Contact Us link. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for spending it with us watching The Attorneys.
Welcome back in to The Attorneys. Hey, a reminder, attorneys from Hollis Wright standing by live right now to speak with you. So take advantage of that opportunity and continue as we go through the program. Information at the bottom of your screen in ways that you can interact with us. We love to hear from you. Something else that the firm of Hollis Wright loves to do is to say thanks to those who are so faithful in being a part of the show, watching us each and every Sunday evening, and a new contest, a couple of tickets, 4 tickets in fact, to the big game at the end of the end of November, I guess, between Auburn and Alabama?
That's right. And, you know, you're exactly right. It is a thank you for those that have been loyal to watch us for the last 5 to 6 years. But it's also to increase kind of our social media platform and to help people recognize that they can go to Facebook and they can follow us during the week and learn important information that may have legal implications in their own life. All they've got to do is go to Facebook, like the Hollis Wright page, and then share the post related to the giveaway, and they're done.
Yeah, so just search the term Hollis Wright. You'll find them on Facebook. Follow the page if you're not already following that, and there you'll see a post about the Auburn, Alabama big football game contest. Just like it and share it, and you are entered to win. And going to do that for about the next few weeks, and then announce the winner before the big game.
And it could be Mintrel Martin.
It could.
That's our winner, right?
Yes.
Could be. All right, hey, let's talk for a moment. Let's kind of go back to uninsured motorists. Okay. All right, do people have to have uninsured motorist coverage as part of their policy?
They do not, but they need to.
Okay. And you had mentioned that before we went to break. Let's talk about that just for a minute. It's really not a very expensive insurance, is it?
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
And it really, the way that I have described it in the past, you tell me if you agree with this, it is for those rainy days. It's for the rainy day, and you buy this insurance for the rainy day circumstances where somebody does not have insurance or does not have sufficient insurance to compensate you if you're injured in an accident, and it's there to protect you for kind of really for yourself.
Absolutely, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't have it, you're going to need it.
Yeah. Now, being able to work with an uninsured motorist carrier, you're really working with your own carrier generally, aren't you?
That's correct.
All right,
That's
so it's probably not real complicated to do that.
Not very complicated at all.
Okay. So, you know, one of the questions that we often get is, should I give a statement to an insurance carrier after an accident? And one of the things we always talk about is, you know, you need legal counsel to help lead, guide, and direct you through that process. But it's a lot easier to give a statement to your own carrier in an uninsured motorist context than it is to give a statement to the other side if you don't have counsel. If you're giving a statement to the other side, you need to have counsel. You need to have somebody on your side to protect you, to make sure that liability is established the right way.
And that leads to a question that we have here. Do I have to report the accident to my insurance company? Is that a must?
It's always a good idea to report the accident. And again, potentially the person doesn't have insurance, doesn't have enough insurance. And under your uninsured motorist policy, there's a requirement that you report the accident to the insurance company.
All right, just a couple of other questions real quick. I think I may be hurt, but I'm not sure. Should I call for medical assistance? I mean, is it always err on the side of caution? Is that the advice?
Absolutely. After an accident, adrenaline's pumping, and sometimes, you know, you may go a couple hours and then, oh, my shoulder's hurting, my back's hurting. So it's a good idea to call for medical help.
Yeah, and you know, we see a lot of times, David, somebody is sore, things just don't feel right immediately after an accident, and that ultimately manifests itself into a disc herniation or something more serious. And so we do recommend, I mean, obviously you want to take care of your body, you want to take care of yourself. We're not encouraging people to seek medical care that don't need medical care. Don't be confused by that.
Right.
But to the extent that you're in an accident and there is soreness or something just doesn't feel right, don't be afraid to go get medical care, because that is going to help establish for your counsel exactly what conditions you may have going on.
One quick question: should I talk with the other driver's insurance company? And you alluded to that, Josh. But sometimes you kind of forget these in the heat of the moment. But what's your advice with that? So at the scene of the accident, if he says, "Hey, here's my insurance company," kind of hands you a phone, how do you handle that?
My advice is don't speak with them.
Okay.
It's never a good idea, because what they're doing is they're collecting the information that they're going to use against you at a later point.
And you know, insurance carriers, for the most part, you know, their goal and focus is to do the right thing. I really do think that, and I've seen that in my practice. But they're also trying to build a case to limit the liability that their insured has, if that's possible. A lot of people don't realize this, and Mintrel and I deal with it every day. In Alabama, if you have any contribution to an accident whatsoever, you could be prevented from recovering. It's called contributory negligence. So they're trying to find that very small contribution that, oh yes, you know, our person ran the red light, but you had sufficient time to see them and you could have stopped in advance. That may build a defense, David, and that defense could put us in a circumstance where that individual can't recover under the law unless you can prove a couple things. So they do need to be careful. Definitely need to be careful. Now, I think, are we about to go?
We got time. Go ahead.
Good. So I want to ask you a couple questions too, just related to kind of post-accident things. How about talking with the police officer after an accident? If they ask questions about what happened, you recommend that?
It's important that they build a narrative. But again, I err on the side of being cautious. Again, if a police officer asks you if you're injured, and if you're feeling a little ting or something, you know, just go ahead and tell them.
A lot of times, and I know we're getting ready to go to break. Let me ask one more quick question related to that, though. As it relates to that, if you are significantly injured at the accident, do you recommend contacting the officer later to help with the narrative? Because a lot of times the narratives are one-sided because somebody went through EMS before the officer even got there. Do you recommend that?
Absolutely. It's called a supplemental report. Contact the police officer and tell them what happened, and then they'll issue what's called a supplement to the report.
I know we're getting ready to go to break. When we come back, we're going to do some rapid fire on some issues related to car accidents, uninsured motorists, and those things. So we'll kind of unwrap that when we get back.
Good deal. We're stepping aside right here, our final break of the evening. So if you want to take advantage of the opportunity to speak live with the attorneys from Hollis Wright, now's the time to do so. Stay tuned. More of the attorneys coming right up.
I'm Josh Wright with the law firm of Hollis Wright. If you've ever served on a jury, you may have wondered why there are gaps in the evidence you're given at trial. In today's Legal 4-in-1, we're answering the question, is there insurance to pay the verdict? Know this, just because the lawyers never mention insurance in a trial, it doesn't mean there's not insurance to pay the verdict. Rule 4-in-1 of the Alabama Rules of Evidence states this: evidence that a person was or was not insured against liability is generally not admissible or allowed to be discussed at trial in front of the jury. The reason for the rule is simple. A jury could award more money in a case if they knew the defendant had insurance to pay for it. But the reality in our state is this: in almost all lawsuits that get to a trial, insurance is there to pay judgments awarded by the jury. For example, all automobiles in Alabama are required to have liability insurance. Coverage can range from $25,000 up to $1 million in these cases. In theory, all car crash cases that get to trial should have insurance available to pay any verdict awarded in the case. Trucks have to carry anywhere from $750,000 to $5 million worth of insurance. Unfortunately, you'll never hear that during the trial. Even in medical malpractice cases, the doctor has liability insurance to help pay a judgment. That's something you won't hear during trial because the rules just don't allow that testimony. Yet almost all judgments against a doctor involve liability insurance. Please remember, your call, email, or text to the attorneys is free. All of us at Hollis Wright want to help answer your questions on real issues you face. Remember, a competent lawyer will respond to every question you send in. That's our promise and pledge to you. It's common for a potential client to ask, there are many great firms out there. What separates Hollis Wright from other law firms? My response is generally to talk about the strengths of our law firm in handling cases throughout Alabama and the United States. That we've recovered through verdicts and settlements, hundreds of millions of dollars for our clients. That we have financial resources to hire any required expert and to take their case all the way to trial, even if it costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. That we handle cases only on a contingency fee, which means we never ask the client to pay any costs of litigation whatsoever, and only recover those costs in a fee if we win for the client. That we have a staff of more than 20 employees that help us litigate cases from start to finish. That we've had a television show on NBC 13 for 6 years that answers thousands of questions to citizens for free each year. But what I've learned in the last 20 years as a trial lawyer is that clients want more and deserve more than all those things. Those things are expected of each law firm they consider. So with that wisdom, what I tell clients now is simply this: we are a family-oriented practice at Hollis Wright, just like their own family. That we are a team-oriented group that engages in team-building exercises and team-building events because it helps our clients win cases. That we are dads and moms and brothers and sisters. That we are former Alabama trial lawyer presidents. That our bedside manner is second to none. So what really separates our firm from others? We're balanced and well-rounded, and as such, we relate to people not just as lawyers, but as compassionate human beings. Human beings that know what it's like to face a day in court. We are advocates, we are compassionate, we are tireless. We are, simply put, Hollis Wright.
Welcome back into the Attorneys. We are less than 10 minutes remaining in the program tonight. So if you would like to speak with an attorney from Hollis Wright that's standing by live to speak with you, take advantage of that. Less than 10 minutes remaining for you to take advantage of that opportunity. A couple of questions here for you, gentlemen. Question here, what if I wasn't wearing my seatbelt? Does that mean I do not have a case?
No, it doesn't. Not in Alabama. Seatbelts can't be used against you in negotiations.
Can they in other states?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Florida.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will supplement that with one response, and that's this. We obviously do a lot of product work in addition to the automobile stuff. In a product's case, the seatbelt could become a significant issue depending on what the accident speeds were or the types of injuries that you have. So it could be material and relevant, but Mintrel is exactly correct. As it relates to the car accident side, it shouldn't have any impact whatsoever.
Okay. How often do you see that in accidents? Is it still often folks don't wear their seatbelts even nowadays?
I don't see it a whole lot myself.
Okay.
Yeah. For the most part, I think it's become so annoying not to wear a seatbelt in a car with the beeping. And I mean, at some point,
make it tough.
Yeah, you put it on.
All right, another question here, and then we'll get to rapid fire, Josh, with you. But what if the other driver's insurance company wants a copy of my medical records? Should I release them?
No. First of all, I think you should call a lawyer.
Right.
At that point, insurance companies have lawyers working for them. I think you need to get one working for you. A lot of times your medical records contain a lot of pre-existing things that, you know, the insurance company may use against you.
Yeah. And is that the kind of thing, if I'm in an accident and the other insurance company calls me and I have legal representation, that's what you need to let the attorney know. Say, hey, these guys call me asking me for information, right? That's something that you guys would need to know.
Well, that's right. And most lawyers will tell a client after they have signed a contract, and I want to talk about that in just a second, but after they sign a contract, they'll tell them, don't talk to anybody else. If an adjuster calls or the officer calls or anybody calls, and they're not being rude, but put them in touch with me.
Right.
Here's my contact information. Make sure they call me, because you want to have one voice and somebody that navigates these waters on a daily basis. We're not talking about hiding information or anything like that. That's not what this is about. This is about having one consistent voice with somebody that knows what they're doing to make sure that they're able to maximize the recovery for the individual that was involved in the accident, or to ensure and maintain that there is coverage. Because there are some circumstances where if you say the wrong thing, you could lose coverage. Right. So you want to make sure that you've got the lawyer on your side being able to do that. One thing I did want to ask you real quickly is explain generally how a contingency fee works, because I know we gloss over that sometimes on this show, but it's kind of an important component when you're dealing with a car accident case, and it allows you to get the level of service that you'd have on the defense side.
Sure. Simply put, if we make money for you, we get paid. If we don't make money for you, we don't get paid, simply.
And how do you normally handle expenses with reference to those contingency cases? Let's say you litigate the case, you're unsuccessful. Does the client owe that contract back, or owe that expense back?
No, the firm eats the cost.
Okay, and that's one of the most important things that allows a plaintiff to have the same level and quality of legal representation as the defense bar would be able to have, which is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about a couple rapid fire things, because we get some of these questions. If somebody who hits you and causes the accident did not own the vehicle but was using the vehicle, does that implicate or impact coverage?
Potentially it does, but more than likely the insurance is going to cover the vehicle and not necessarily preclude it just because it wasn't the owner that was driving the car.
Okay. Talk to me about if you have a client that is not a legal citizen of the United States, and I know we both run into this every once in a while. Sure. Does that necessarily mean they can't recover in our court system?
It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't. And oftentimes people know that, and so they'll sort of use that as a scare tactic, but it doesn't preclude.
Yeah, you know, David, for better or for worse, in Alabama, we have a lot of legal and illegal residents. And those people are involved in accidents every day, and those people cause accidents every day. In a circumstance, if you have an illegal that caused the accident, you really need to get counsel involved, because your lawyer can navigate through the waters of how to make sure that there's still coverage for your injuries. That's kind of an important component to this.
A question we've got here is about pictures. With the smartphones, it's so easy to do now. Right. Should you document that yourself?
Absolutely. Very critical that you get pictures. Oftentimes, obviously, people say, well, I didn't cause the wreck, it wasn't my fault. Well, pictures will definitely help to prove it.
Right.
Alcohol, I know you see this at times involved in these accidents. Does alcohol, if a driver has alcohol in their system and they cause the accident, does that guarantee that there's not going to be coverage?
It does not guarantee it's not going to be covered.
Yeah. So in essence, and we see this a lot, you can have alcohol related in an accident, and one of the reasons you need counsel is to be able to figure out where that individual get the alcohol. And you know, we see circumstances all the time, unfortunately, where somebody's involved in an automobile accident. The driver may only have $25,000 worth of coverage, but the accident caused catastrophic, life-changing injuries. You need to be able to have a lawyer that can evaluate the full value of your case and evaluate all the facts and circumstances, determine, for example, in an alcohol setting, whether or not that person received the alcohol from a convenience store, a restaurant, a bar. Maybe they shouldn't have been driving on the road that day. So that's kind of an important component.
Less than 3 minutes remaining before we get to final thoughts. Just quickly from you guys, what's the most common mistake you see folks make when it comes to accidents?
In my case, not having an uninsured motorist.
Oh, really?
Yes, #1 mistake.
Wow. Okay.
You know, I see a lot. People they have a real injury because I can see it on an MRI report 2 months later that they have a disc herniation, but they play tough guy at the scene and says, I'm not hurt, I do not need medical assistance. And that doesn't mean your case is over, but it reduces the value of the case, and the reason is it makes it in the narrative the person was not injured, when the reality is you actually have an objective injury. What I'd say is don't be tough guy at the scene. If you are injured, make sure that you seek the medical care you need immediately.
Less than 2 minutes remaining, opportunity for both of you to give a final thought. Mintrel, if you would, you go first.
I'd say it's very, very critical to have uninsured motorists. Believe it or not, there are a lot of folks that are driving around, they just don't have insurance. And when they hit you, you sustain injuries, and without insurance, there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Yeah, you know, what I would say is getting a lawyer involved, David, early in this process is helpful. It doesn't cost you anything, so it's almost a free look. We get plenty of people that come to us on a daily basis and a weekly basis that ask about their automobile accident, where we have to say, I'm sorry, but you just don't have a claim. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're happy to look at those claims. But you want to make sure that you've got legal counsel on your side to navigate the medical issues, working with the officer, getting statements at the scene, dealing with insurance carriers, determining if uninsured motorist coverage is applicable. I mean, there's so many hurdles you want to go through, and you need a lawyer to be able to do those things, to lead, guide, and direct you through the process, and to make sure that you truly do maximize the recovery that you're entitled to. Because a lot of times, and don't forget this, people are injured in accidents that it's not their fault at all. They didn't do anything wrong. They're entitled to proper representation and to be protected.
Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks for being on.
Great
job.
Appreciate it. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us as well. As we wrap this show up, just a reminder, you want to be a part of that contest. Tickets to the Alabama-Auburn game. All you have to do, head to the Facebook page. Search Hollis Wright. Find the firm on Facebook. Follow, like, share that post, and you will be entered to win. We appreciate you being with us. We'll look for you next time right here on The Attorneys.
Thanks for watching The Attorneys, sponsored by Hollis Wright.